The film begins with two people, a boy and a girl, running through the forest wearing masks on their faces. Suddenly, one of them, the girl, falls to the ground from exhaustion as if suffering from a serious illness. A mysterious person in a protective suit appears and shoots the young man who was with the girl with an arrow in his eye, and he falls dead. Of course, we still don't know why any of this is happening. After all that, sometime later, we're in the same forest where all that happened a while ago. And right now, we find out. We currently know that there is a serious disease or virus spreading around the world, and because of it, the world ended. This disease is unknown except that it comes to people through an infection transmitted by mosquitoes and insects. The person who gets this epidemic dies instantly. The government has supposedly set up a system called the eradication system. This eradication system orders people to stay in their homes. There are drones constantly monitoring them and providing them with the food and drink they need. But if someone goes out and moves further than allowed, the drones will kill them immediately. Of course, my friend, you might find this system a bit strange and unnecessarily complicated and a danger, but I want to tell you that the government made this system to control the outbreak of the pandemic that spreads at an incredible and incomprehensible speed. It almost wiped out most of the world. Okay, very good. Now we go to a small house in the forest, and living in this house is a person named David Baldwin. We currently see this David communicating via video with his fiancée named Sam, and they talk together. And from their conversation, we learn that Sam is currently working with the government to develop a cure for the spreading epidemic. Currently, David is supposed to be cooperating with Sam and the government by sending them his blood to find a cure to the epidemic, because supposedly Sam tells David that he's infected with the epidemic but hasn't died yet, so he has to keep sending her his blood so she can find a cure. She promises him that very soon she'll find a cure and they will meet again afterward. But 2 years go by after all that, and we see that David is still living alone in the house, and Sam still hasn't found any cure for the epidemic, which David himself still doesn't exactly know the symptoms of until now. What's important right now is to get to know David's daily routine, which, my friend, is simply that he wakes up every morning to the sound of many alarms in the house and starts getting himself together. Then he begins to draw blood from his body and goes out to place the blood bags in a specific place so that the drone comes to take them to Sam. Supposedly, they have provided David with a lot of food, so they always take it so he can eat from it and stay alive, and so on and so forth. The important thing is that we now see David trying to communicate with Sam in his free time, but he has been failing for a while, by the way, and we see that he is living in severe depression because he cannot leave the house, especially at night, to avoid getting infected with the pandemic. And we also see, my friend, that there is someone wearing a protective suit always watching David, and we honestly don't know who this person is yet. After that, my friend, we see that David always picks up the landline phone and tries to call any number in hopes that someone will answer him so he doesn't feel alone in the world. And indeed, one time, someone answers David. But at that moment, before he speaks to the person on the phone, he hears his computer making a certain sound, indicating that Sam will communicate with him. So he's already forced to hang up that line and now goes to answer Sam, but he fails this call and loses his conversation with the stranger on that phone for nothing. The important thing is that David falls asleep in front of the computer and dreams of Sam. When he wakes up again, he finds that Sam was on a call with him on the computer. It's as if she was watching him, or he tries to talk to her. She listens and then disappears. David honestly doesn't understand anything, but he starts to feel that there is something wrong. After that, my friend, David goes about his daily routine normally and goes out to deliver his blood bag and get the food. But this time, he finds that the food available is animal protein, and he is a vegetarian who doesn't eat that protein at all. And of course, this bothers him immensely. So he keeps talking to the drone watching him and says now he wants vegetarian food, or else he won't deliver the blood. And indeed, he takes his blood and returns home again. In the story, Sam contacts him and tells him she's agreed with very dangerous people to take his blood. They need to take his blood and make a cure from it. These people can't back out of their agreement with them, or they will kill her, and then kill after that. David in the end asks that he should leave his blood sample this time, and she will handle it afterwards. So David agrees, although he is upset. After that, David goes to the landline phone and tries to call the person he spoke with before. And in fact, that person answers, and his name is Todd. Todd, sir, now tells David that he is living alone in the city, after almost everyone in the city has been infected with the epidemic, or most of them have died. They also find out, by the way, that the government sent its drones to spread a toxic gas and kill everyone to completely eliminate the return of the virus. But Todd was wearing a mask on his face, and that's literally the only thing that protected him and kept him alive till now. And Todd tells David that if he were infected with the epidemic as he claims, surely he would have been dead by now. Todd knows, and check if he's really infected with the epidemic or not, so he knows if the government is deceiving Sam or not, and they know that after revealing himself, he must stay in touch with him if it turns out he is not infected, so he can come live with David and be together instead of being alone. So he agrees with him, and they agree on. He goes outside the house to a place and takes a testing device to test himself if he is infected with the epidemic or not. He takes the testing device with him so he can find out the result, but an hour later, he returns to the house again. On his way, he encounters someone who looks strange, similar to a zombie or a vampire. This zombie tries to attack David, but then a person in a protective suit comes and kills the zombie. And David, by the way, doesn't understand anything, but he starts to suspect that the epidemic is turning humans into a terrifying form. David goes back home again and starts checking his test result. He discovers here that he is not infected with the epidemic as Sam told him. Consequently, David begins to feel frustrated and senses that something is wrong, knowing that Sam and the government, they are deceiving him. So now, the first thing he does is destroy all the alarms he has so he doesn't stick to the routine that he set, or more accurately, the routine they set for him and continue to deceive him with. After that, he talks to Sam and tells her that he saw a strange person today. This person looks infected with the epidemic. Then he asks her if he's infected with the epidemic. Why hasn't he transformed like the person in front of him? Sam becomes tense and tries to change the subject. So David is certain that Sam is hiding something from him, but he doesn't tell her anything else right now. Then David leaves the house and keeps wandering in the forest until he finds the bodies of the people I told you about before who were killed at the beginning of the movie. My friend, if you remember, David becomes nearly insane, not knowing why these people are being killed. But David keeps wandering here and there until he finds the tent where the person wearing the protective suit, who has been killing people from the start, is situated, as we said. David quickly enters the tent and is surprised to find Sam inside. And that Sam is the person always wearing a protective suit. And David does not understand anything. Then Sam keeps telling him that she's infected with the epidemic and that she should not get close to him so as not to harm him. She also informs him that there is a dangerous person who has made a deal with her and that this deal cannot be changed or she will be killed. In this situation, David doesn't understand anything from Sam, so he takes her to his house, locks her in a room, and takes a blood sample from her in order to test it and truly find out if she's infected with the epidemic or if she's deceiving him. But after that, he sends a voice message to Todd asking him to come live with him because he is not infected and will not harm him. After that, David goes to Sam's tent and finds her computer. David also finds that Sam was constantly sending videos to an unknown person. David realizes that this person is someone very high up in the government, and Sam had an agreement with him. Supposedly, the epidemic that spread across the world is turning people into something between zombies and vampires. Sam and the person in the government are infected with the epidemic. So, what did they do, my friend? They brought poor David and locked him up here, asking him to send them blood under the pretense that it's for discovering a cure or vaccine. But that blood was for Sam and the person in the government because, as we said, they are something between zombies and vampires. They need a lot of blood to stay alive and not fully transform and eventually die. And Samaba was there to kill anyone who got close to David and might somehow find out the truth about what was happening around him in the whole world. And by the way, Sam was successful in that if it weren't for David finding out from Todd. And David actually finds out that Sam was involved in all of this from the beginning because she wanted to genuinely develop a cure. But then she didn't know, and the man she had an agreement with from the government forced her to do all this, or else he would kill her, and David using drones, which of course, since he is from the government, he has control over. That David is of course shocked by all this and tries to contact the mysterious person through a video, asking to proceed with the agreement, but this person doesn't respond to David, and now a single sentence appears on David's screen saying, "The agreement has been cancelled." Suddenly, we see a drone in the place, starting to operate and now releasing deadly gas on David. But David quickly puts on a mask, so nothing happens to him, and he quickly gathers himself and escapes from the place. After that, my friend, David goes back to Sam, who was locked up. He goes out and discovers that Sam has completely turned into a vampire because she hasn't had a serum for a long time, and she tries to attack David and kill him, but David quickly opens the window, and the sunlight comes in, which hurts Sam. Because, of course, sunlight hurts, as we said before, anyone who is a vampire. Blood stays hidden in a place in the house with no sunlight. Quickly, he tries to draw blood for himself to give to Sam and make her normal again, but he doesn't make it in time because Sam attacks him again and bites him. This way, David is infected with the plague, which will soon turn him into a vampire too. As for Sam, she quickly goes outside and lets the sun burn her completely, and she dies in a very sad scene. Although David was in the sun like her, nothing happens to him because the virus hasn't fully taken over him yet. So David quickly goes to Sam's tent where some of David's blood was, and he drinks that blood to regain his health. But after a while, David gets completely tired of life, my friend. So simply, the movie. He simply digs a hole for himself, throws himself into it, and lets the sun burn him so he can die. But after David does that and the sun burns him completely, suddenly he sees an airplane bringing someone toward him. After a short while, we see someone coming down from the airplane, and it's Todd who had been communicating with David. Todd enters David's house to look for him, but of course he can't find him since, as we mentioned, David is dying. However, he finds David's computer and is currently in contact. David has a video and understands that he is a doctor from the government and informs him that he will send a drone every day to take a bag of his blood so that David can find a cure. Poor Todd stops while he doesn't know that David unfortunately is lying to him because David has currently made an agreement with the person from the government just like Sam did. And they decided to take Todd's blood to live on it and survive. Todd was under the illusion that they were developing a treatment like what happened with David more than 2 years ago. And this time the movie ends, my friend, showing that the end of the world is not always the big disaster for humans. Rather, it's almost like humans are the big disaster for themselves. The movie ends, that's it. Goodbye.